Okay, hello. Sorry, I finished swallowing my popcorn. I made kettle corn popcorn with about a stick of butter and a handful of salt. It's really good. Eat it with chopsticks so my computer doesn't get all messy. So what I've done here is created a Docker container that creates certificates for us. I'm just showing you that I have nothing in place. Yeah, nothing's set up right now. Right. So anywho, what we have is a need to be able to create one or multiple certificates for server authentication. Excuse me. Keys and certs and stuff. But we also have to send the information off to another party to sign off and sign all the certificate requests. So what I have done is created a reusable container. Let me pull it up on my other screen here. There we go. All right. So we have we have a list of hosts. I'll show you where that's at in a second. But here's a host. There's a host with a DNS entry, actually 2 DNS entries for sans names, subject alternative names. I think they're, I don't know why it's sans. Anyway, yeah, just a bunch of different names. And all we're going to do to create the certificates is run a copy of SpelledABC Cert Maker version 1. We're going to pass in the path to where we're going to keep the data. So this host file is in the data folder. Actually, I'll show you here. Yep. So Cert Maker, and in the data folder is the host file that I just showed you. And final is empty. That's where when the Docker container is all done doing stuff, that's where it's going to put the final output. So here, well, I'll keep that. Yeah, we'll go like that. Also, you can pass in the environment variables. The environment variables are what is going to be used for the certificate creation process. So you can pick the country, the state, the locality, organizational unit 1, 2, and 3, because we have a particular format, whatever. As well as the email address and an alias, phone number. Let's see if you recognize the number. I don't actually know the song. I just know that number because it's so corny. Yeah, and then NIMDA, way back from what, 2019? Not 2019, 1990, 2000, NIMDA, the admin virus, NIMDA. Anyway, that's what all that is. And all we're going to do to run it is Docker compose up, because we have this compose file that's going to pull down our container and do everything. And I showed you earlier that nothing is already pulled down, right? So we have a clean list. Docker compose up. Pulls down the container. I'm going to move this over to the side here. So it's going to pull down that container right there. Or that image, and make a container, I should say. And when it's all done, it's going to show output per line of when it's done doing the host. Almost ready. Now, of course, your path will be different if you're on Linux or whatever. This is just because it's on my D drive in a folder called trash, in a folder called Cert Maker, so on and so forth. Come on, Cletus. Being picky. Turbo. Yes, I have some other stuff going on my other screen. You can't see it at the moment. I'm only displaying the one monitor. Clear. Sorry for the delay. Okay, But there we go. So cert maker, so it's run the container and disposed of it already. There's nothing left. Well, not disposed of it, but it's not running. It is. I don't have to re-download it if I run it again. So it did. The host Ben SpelledABC has the next one. So all the stuff is in there. It moves the output to final out. That's within the container, and because we have that mounted within our Docker Compose thing, where it's actually going to go to final out, and here's our stuff. It will create a XML file, which has all of our environment variable. No, stop that. There we go. As our environment variable, this is a ring ID. It's just a unique identifier for each thing. It's a GUID. So next time I run it, it'll be different. That way you can tell which request is with what, or which bulk requests are with what. And then it goes through and it just creates all the hosts and tells the where the request file actually is. So here's the the request ID and the request. All right, we'll come down here. So there's the thing, and we got requests, and there's also the keys for each host. However, there's also a nice little tar file. I don't have anything to open tar files on my Windows box. Boo. Anyway, inside the tar file, it's this XML again, and only the request. And I'm gonna send them the keys. Duh. But yeah. So let's run it again, and you'll notice that we don't have to pull down the image again. I'm not going to change the host names. That'll be the same thing. But we're all done. I created, what, those 6 certs with sans names? Or sans certs. And this is why that GUID, or that token, is important. Because this one was 50D. So it's this one and that file. So you can run it multiple times and have different GUIDs. That way you can keep them all separate of what's what. The reason why that's important is because if you change something, you gotta know which one goes with what. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's a lot faster than before. Next thing to do is to add the key and the certificate, not the request, but the key and the certificate into a vault, but we'll get that later. That's it for now. Deuces.